So I just wanted to do my discussion post in a video today because I wanted to talk about an experience that I had when I was working in the emergency room, because I think it resonates with some of the videos and readings this week. So when I was working in the emergency room, this older lady came in. She walked in by herself. She said she was having back pain, but she was pretty much okay looking. So we checked her in. She sat in the waiting room. The nurse did her vitals, checked her into a room in the back. She pretty much seemed okay. And then they ran all these tests to try to figure out what's going on, because they couldn't figure it out at first. And then they finally realized that she was having an aortic aneurysm, and she wasn't going to make it past the afternoon. So the nurse had told me to start reaching out to the immediate family, tell them they need to come in, which I did. But what stuck out to me the most was when the nurse went into the room. She had to deliver this news, and the lady just kind of sat there, and she didn't, freak out. She didn't cry. She just kind of accepted it. She's probably in shock, but the way that she responded is something that's gonna it'll always stick with me, because so this lady hadn't had a cigarette. She had quit like 20 years ago. And she was like, okay. She was like, well, then my dying wish is that I just want to have a damn cigarette. And I think the nurse was a little more emotional than the patient was at that time. And so luckily we weren't that busy in the emergency room, and all the nurses had grabbed her gurney. They wheeled her outside. You're not supposed to smoke on the hospital ground, but they all stood there with her, even the nurses that don't smoke, and they all just stood around her, and they all smoked a cigarette with her. And I remember her family all rushing in, like telling us who they were there for, and we just had them wait in the room because the patient, she didn't want them to go out there at that time. She wanted just time to herself with the nurses, and they're just talking and spending that moment, I think, just in the acceptance phase of her own death. Like it's just something you don't see a lot. So the video where it talks about like the veil and how that time is so sacred, I really resonated with that, because then when she went back into the room and all of her family was there, we did give them the news outside of the room, because the patient was pretty calm. We didn't want to have her get worked up too much. And the family just they were obviously heartbroken, but they all went in there and sat with her, and it was really quiet. It was very quiet. They all were just kind of holding hands, and they were talking to her. And when she passed, we could see when she did pass finally, nobody rushed out of the room. Nobody was calling the nurses. It was very calm. It was very peaceful. And she laid in the room for quite a while after she had passed away, and the family stayed with her. And they just spent that time with her. And it was beautiful. Like, it was so beautiful. And I was like, if something happens to me, like, that's the way I would want to go, is surrounded by my family. I don't want a ton of chaotic stuff going on around me, because the emotional piece of it is just as important as the medical piece. And it just was so touching and meaningful to me. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that scenario, because it does resonate with the readings and videos we had this week. As just a reminder that, dying doesn't always have to be terrifying, that it can be beautiful and meaningful and none of us really know what's next, but I do believe that there's something after death, and you know, yeah, I just wanted to share that. All right, bye.